All right. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me today. My name is Cody Giblett, and I'll be your moderator for today's session. So the title of today's webinar is Product Development Process. Shark Tank Entrepreneurs Share Their Journeys. And we'll get started. Okay, Brian, you're good to go.
Hello, everyone, and thank you all for joining us today. I'll be your host. My name is Brian Freed, and first and foremost, I'm an inventor. I have over 15 patents to my name. I have 50 plus trademarks. I've licensed my own inventions and earn royalties from them. I manufacture products, whether it's in the local USA or overseas, and I've been doing it for 18 plus years now. I have some fun, exciting products, which I'll show you during the presentation as well. But over these last 18 years, I've gotten a chance to be an inventor coach and help other people the same way that I've kind of gotten through the process. And it's been an experience. I have 3 books that I've authored. My latest one is called How to Make Money with Your Invention Idea. I also host a radio show and a TV show called Got Invention Show. And I have an e-learning course called Inventor Class that you can find online. And over the years, I've been running inventors clubs. It's about 15 plus years now. Over the time, I have kind of formulated into Long Island inventor and entrepreneurs clubs regionally here, where I'm from. But over the years, I've launched the National Inventor Club, and there's amazing guests on there. We've had the president of SCORE, Bridget was on, and I have some great high-profile guests on there, including Alibaba and the inventor of the cell phone. The U.S. Patent and Trademark Office comes on the interviews all the time. So it's been a great experience. And as I've kind of put it all together, just recently, I've launched the Inventor Smart Community app. And there is where social media happens. There's social media chat forums, there's resources, there's tips, advice, there's everybody kind of networks and collaborates with each other. So you can find the Inventor Smart Community app on Google Play and Apple App Store. And I'm very excited about it. There's premium and freemium subscriptions on there. And obviously membership has its benefits. But I'm really proud of Inventor Smart Community app. That's my latest invention. So without further ado, we have Judy Blair Abrahams. She is the inventor of the Super Potty Trainer, and Dakota and Garret Porter. They are from ActionGlow, and really interesting stories for both of them. And we're going to talk about how their ideas really turned into lifelike products that they're selling. And not only did they get them out to the market, they were on Shark Tank. So that was very interesting, and it was fun to watch you both on Shark Tank, and we're proud to have you here today. So why don't we start off, Judy, if you can introduce yourself and tell us who you are and where you're from and what you do for a living.
Hello, well, thank you for having me, guys, here. I really appreciate this. I'm really enjoying this so far. This is amazing. Thank you. So my name is Judy Blair in the United States and Judy Abrahams in Colombia. I have to say that. I was born and raised in an island of the Caribbean, of the coast of Colombia. My mother is Colombian. My father is from the Caribbean. So I speak Spanish due to my mother being Colombian. Being Colombian, I speak Creole, which is our native language from the island, and then English. So I speak 3 languages. I'm an inventor. I have been selling things. First, I have been selling things since I was about 10 years old. I'm 53. So for the last 43 years, I have been selling a lot of things. So I have that thing of being an entrepreneur at an early age. I'm an inventor. I have about 6 inventions, but I only launched 1 so far into the market. 4 patents, 2 patents in Colombia, 2 patents in the US, and 2 trademarks in the US. I have a bachelor's in economics. I have an advanced post-degree certificate as a legal assistant. And I mix all of the things that I have, all that academic background, the legal system, all that into what I do. There's nothing I haven't studied that I don't use in what I do. So I like that. My current project is secret, so I cannot talk about it, but it's going to be a big launch, hopefully 2024. And I have been working on that for the last four years. So I'm really excited, and you guys are going to learn about that. So
That's
thank you.
great. And you know what? Once you start on one idea, you have plenty of ideas, and some may work out,
Yes.
and some you might realize that maybe you should stop and wait for your next one. But that's what we do.
Yes.
We have the bug, right?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
you keep on inventing. Absolutely. So
Cool.
Dakota and Garret, welcome, and tell us who you are. You're both from, and a little bit more about your backgrounds.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having us, and thanks everyone for joining. I am Garret.
And I'm Dakota.
And we created ActionGlow when I was just 13 years old, and I am 25 now, to give you some perspective. And Dakota was 16, and he's 28 now. So we have lived and breathed ActionGlow for what seems like our entire life. It's kind of become our identity at this point. And we're from beautiful northern Michigan, a little town called Traverse City. And it's not quite in the UP of Michigan, but it's about as north as you can go before hitting the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And that's kind of how we wanted to get started in the action sport industry with ActionGlow. It's just because we were surrounded by all of the seasons, and we got to participate in all of the action sports. And so that's kind of a little preview into where ActionGlow came from.
Just to give
Fantastic.
you a background on how we came up with the idea, we were avid action sport junkies since we were kids, always on skis and snowboards or any sort of thing that ended in board, whether it was skateboard, longboard, snowboard. We were riding all the time. And we were actually snowboarding in our local ski hill and thought, man, everything looks so boring at night. At night, they're just white lights, white snow, white trees, everything's just white. And that's when the idea popped in our head. Let's put LED lights on our snowboards. And like Garret said, that was over a decade ago, and we're still at it today.
Well, you know what? The lights give some kind of energy, right? It's it definitely, and your name, ActionGlow. Well, congrats, and we're going to hear about your success as well. So let's start off. Look, we all are doing things in our daily life. You wake up, you brush your teeth, you get out of bed, you're having breakfast, you're doing something in the kitchen, you drive to the office, you drive to school, you're at the airport, you're at work, you come home, you're eating dinner, you're in the kitchen. There's so many things that we do throughout the day, whether it's for business or for personal. And there's sometimes where you go, you know what I'm doing right now, I think it could be better. Is there something like this out there? Or maybe not, right? And it's up to us to try to figure out how to get that idea or that problem into a solution. And that's what you both did. So why don't you both share with us what your problem was? Sometimes I like to say challenge, but hey, what was the problem? What was something that annoyed you that made you do what you did? So let's just start off by, what was the problem, Judy?
So the problem that I had is I was working full time as a paralegal, and I was really happy working there. I was working at a government's office, and I would say I was like at the peak of my legal career in 2012 because I really truly loved what I was doing. But then I had a 2.5-year-old home that I couldn't take to the daycare because they would not take her because she was not potty trained. And the difficulties with her is that she was super afraid of sitting on the toilet. That's why I have a toilet here. So nothing really worked. So I tried every single product out there in the market, and my daughter rejected all of them. So at the end, with her language about 2.5 years old, I understood what she told me, that if I sat first, she will sit then. So I sat first. Thank God I weighed like 15 pounds less then, so I could fit here on the toilet. So I sat here, she sat in front, and that's why I potty trained her on the first and second day. And then from that point, I said, okay, because she used her hands, put her hands kind of, trying to feel safe. And I noticed, okay, so what she needs is, but I cannot, and I said this on Shark Tank, I cannot be sitting on the toilet the entire day with her potty training her. So I ended up quitting my job. Prior to that, I quit the job because I was really worried about my daughter being constipated. And I was just trying to help her. I never thought I was going to come out with the idea to help her. But when she asked me to sit on the toilet, I figured, you know what, she needs something that is going to replace me on the toilet. That's why I invented the Super Potty Trainer, came up with that idea. And I potty trainer with the first prototype that I had, and I worked from there. So can I show the Super Potty Trainer?
Yeah, let's
and
show
how
it.
Works?
Absolutely, Judy. Absolutely.
So the first prototype that I used was actually a cardboard box, and I attached it to the water tank of the toilet, and it moved a little bit. So we worked with the father of my kids. We work on this prototype. Like, if you notice, and I like the audience to see this, that I use whatever was available. I didn't spend money. I just cut pieces, put it together, and this is what I did. So this is what I did. You lift the toilet seat. First, I tried like this, and it moved. So my daughter was gonna jump off the toilet. Then I thought, okay, what if I just lock it like this, And then my older son told me, this is nasty because it's a story. And I say, it doesn't matter. I'm going to try to figure out. So from this cardboard prototype, we went through the different ones. And at the very end, this is the prototype. This is the actual product. Okay? And I potty trained her with this one. This is the second one. So we went from this to this one. And this is the original that I sold. This is the original that I sold in so many platforms on my own. I designed this. It looks ugly, but I'm proud of this. So there were so many issues with this. So this is the product that we use. So this is the end product. How it works is I came out with this silicone pads. You put it here. You rest it on the toilet rim. And this is me. This back support is Judy. This was replacing me so my daughter could be here. And it doesn't move. So I'm going to apply like 15 pounds, and it doesn't move.
Thank you, Judy.
She was a little tiny. Yeah, so I did this, and that's it. That's why I invented the Super Potty Trainer.
Unbelievable. An amazing solution. And that's you. I don't know if you look at that and think about, but you had a problem, and you came up with a solution that you don't have to be sitting there with your daughter all the time. Now you have the Super Potty Trainer. So congratulations. Yes. And we're going to find out more about your journey. Garret and Dakota, ActionGlow. Tell us what the problem was for you. Both.
Yeah, well, first off, Judy, that's a super awesome story. Really cool to see the thought process and how the whole product came together. Very similar to us as well, going through several different iterations. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm sorry, I kind of jumped the gun when I was talking about the background, but Garret and I were snowboarding at our local ski hill, and everything just looked so ordinary. And that's why we decided we could shake things up a bit and add a little light to the nighttime action sport scenery. And so we came up with the idea, sitting on the chairlift, hey, let's put LEDs on our snowboards. We went home that night and started just buying everything we could find online on the market, like off the shelf, to try to put this together. And over the years, it took us about 2 years to actually get this product to market, because over the years we were trying everything to have an electronic component actually be durable enough for the freezing temperatures, snow, ice, bend of the snowboard. And that's where the whole kind of thought process started to come.
Mind you, at 13 and 16.
Yeah, also 13 and 16. So we're meeting a lot of different engineers in the area. We're trying to talk to everyone to try to figure this out. And we went through several iterations for ActionGlow. I only have a couple here, but the first one was just a waterproof power supply we got from the internet. This only took AA batteries. So we worked with the local machine shop to injection mold a secondary back piece for this. We basically retrofitted it into a 9-volt battery holder. We then started working with LED manufacturers to try to find some sort of component in terms of the coating on the top that's going to not get too stiff when it's cold. It's going to allow the LEDs to move freely inside of the coating without, causing too much tension on it. And so the different iterations were, this battery box with a custom-made injection molded back piece. Then we moved on to something that we could get a little smaller because size was also an issue. So we moved over to this component here. which is very similar. Still took screws. So in order to change the battery, our riders would have to screw, the back piece off of it and change the battery, put it back on. We knew that that was kind of an issue. And so eventually we moved to something with more of a clip design where they can change the batteries by just opening the couple clips. And at this point in time, we're like, okay, now we need to work on the electronics to get like an actual circuit board done. And so the prototype phase just went through several iterations throughout the decade of us working until eventually we've got the final product that we have today.
Let's see it.
Which is ActionGlow 2. So now it's all packaged up completely, basically over the last decade. Every note we've taken on, the product's performance has been addressed in this new version. We were also hand making everything to order up until Shark Tank. And so that was kind of our bottleneck. We couldn't grow the company because it took us about 45 minutes to sit down and solder everything together.
That's great. Dakota, show us so that final product is the box. And now it's for snowboards and surfboards and skateboards and kayaks, longboards and bikes.
Yes.
So let's just take a look real quick.
And snowboard here. I'll turn this unit off. But let's see, actually, if I reach up with the click of a button, you can filter through 7 different color modes now. So
that's very cool.
You can choose what you want to ride, what color you want to ride with for the day. And then with the other button now, we also offer 3 different brightness levels. So we have a low there, a medium, I think that's medium, and then a bright there. And then it's just, we just continuously, as Dakota said,
that's awesome.
Making it smaller and making it more compact and lightweight for the action sport enthusiast.
Congratulations.
Very cool.
That's great. And we're going to find out more about your journey. So I'm going to join the inventor side here. So my problem was that usually you're using paper towels when they're on a roll, right? And you're using them and your hands are wet or dirty most of the time, right? So you put your hand on top and you pull the sheet off. And this is a little exaggerated, but this is what some paper towel tops look like. So it kind of annoyed me. I didn't like that. It was wet, dirty. So what I did was, my wife always gets mad at me when I do these demos because it's very dirty afterwards. But you take any paper towel roll and you put it on the stand. You put your paper towel topper, just a simple one that goes into the inner tube of any paper towel roll. And now when your hands are wet or dirty, you pull it off, and now your paper towel roll stays clean and dry. So that's one of my inventions. Very simple problem solution. And look, this is what we do, right? So let's get back to both. Thank you. Let's get back to both of you. So look, now you invented this product. You got to a point, and you both shared some of your prototyping stages already. But now you really needed to make it real. So let's start off by, what was really the first thing you did? Did you start to go into looking for production? Did you go into maybe making a prototype? Or was it going into the patent process first? So why don't we start off, Judy? Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you did when you had your aha moment, and then it was the next step after that?
Sure. So the first one is, I did not let go of the idea, because a lot of us have ideas, but you get busy and you say, no, I'm sure it was done already, but I didn't do that because I said, you know what? For some reason, I have this idea. So once I have this, I said, how can I make this into, I don't know, plastic? How can I do this? So I started to look for, I did a lot of research, and, you have to spend time doing your research. And then I thought, okay, so the challenge was, how can I make this? Is it going to be metal? Is it going to be plastic? Is it expensive? Is it being? Can I find a manufacturer here in Tucson, Arizona, where I live? And I found a little local place to do this prototype. So I tested different prototypes, and if you notice, there is a difference in the here. This is curvy, and this is like flat. I don't know. So I went from place to place, and I found one place here in Tucson, and I worked with that local prototyping my manufacturing site, and they built the first four prototypes until I picked the right one, the right size.
So
This is the right
prototyping was
size.
really what you started to do with, and then
Yes.
and then what about patenting or protecting the idea? When did that come into play?
Yeah, so patenting, I was doing all at the same time because I have no idea about invention. I have no idea about patenting. I have no idea about any of this, but I did a lot of research. What I discovered is the closer you are to the further you are from the USPTA office, the more expensive the IP lawyer is going to be. So I learned that to hire a patent attorney was really, really expensive. So I wrote the entire background of my patent. I taught myself about that. So I wrote the patents. I learned about claims. I visited a well-known author YouTube channel, and I learned from him. I don't know if I can mention his name, but I learned a lot from him. And then
Okay.
I hired, was that?
No, that's great. So you ended up making you ended up writing your own patent, and you brought it to a patent attorney, and you kind of helped them to know exactly what you were looking for to make it a little bit easier to file. That's great.
Yeah, so that's why I ended
Garret,
up.
That's great. And Garret and Dakota, tell us when you finally got to that point of saying, you know what, we got something here. I know that you might have been underage a little bit at that point, but what did you do? Did you really focus on the prototype? Did you and your parents figure out how to protect your idea?
Yeah, great question, Brian. For us, it's different probably than most entrepreneurs, once again, because of our age. So there's just, I would say, two quick things that we did. First was Dakota and I knew nothing about business, and we were fortunate to learn that very, very early on. So for us, our first step was to surround ourselves with people who did know about business and starting a business. And for us, that was our local SCORE chapter, which is just a bunch of, at the time, retired business people in all different aspects of business that are around to help you and answer and guide you. And so that was one of the first steps that we took. And we are so grateful that we had a local SCORE chapter in Northern Michigan here. But secondly, we didn't have any money. I don't think we were old enough to have bank accounts, Brian. So while our parents and family has been unconditionally supportive of us, they weren't really in a position, we're a hard middle-class family, to loan us any sort of amount of money to get this thing off the ground. So Dakota and I were kind of really scrappy and grassroots with it. And we went door to door in Michigan. We have like a soda can or a beer can. That's worth 10 cents if you bring it back and recycle it. So Dakota and I went door to door through all of our neighborhoods and asked if we could take their soda or beer cans from them. And we would just load up my dad's truck with bags of soda and beer cans and deposit them for 10 cents a piece. And we were able to form our LLC just by doing that and start the provisional patent paperwork on ActionGlow. So it was fundraising, and it was getting guidance from SCORE for us.
Wow.
Oh, that's fantastic. Many people that are watching and listening, you can have a business service, or you can have an idea for a product like we all have had, and commercialize it, turn it into a business. There's many people out there that, look, a simple search is always good, and to do a patent search with a patentability opinion, because look, you both hit it right on with what you invented. But sometimes people might work on things that maybe are somebody else's idea. And you want to make sure that you're working on something that you can call your own, or you're not infringing on somebody else's intellectual property. So it is good, even just like Judy, you started with the patent and then you got a professional involved to kind of take it to the next, to finish it. And here you both are, and we all are with patents and with products. But look, there's many ideas that I've come up with. There's many ideas.
Go
ahead.
It's hanging above the door right behind Dakota's head.
Oh, that's what you. I'll show you my patent if you show me yours. No, that's great. But look, there's many people out there that you're going through the process, and it may not be the one. But just like we're all talking about, we have multiple inventions. When you come up with one, if it's not that one, it's okay to wait for the next one. So there's a lot of people out there that you're working on something, or maybe you'll eventually work on something, and we're here to inspire you and to help you, guide you through. And we have your stories to share. So thank you so much. All right. So here we are. We kind of gone through, and you both had a provisional patent application filed. So that gives you the right for 1 year to say that you're patent pending while you're exploring the market. So, and Judy, you filed, so you were patent pending. So here you are, both patent pending, and now you got to put your business caps on, right?
Yes.
You said that you formed an LLC, Garret and Dakota. Why don't you tell us quickly about that experience? Like, hey, we're going into business. What do we do next?
Yeah, well, it had to be in our father's name because once again, we weren't old enough
to own a company, which is crazy.
Wow.
As soon as Dakota turned 18, we transferred it to his name, the LLC, and then as soon as I became 18, we were able to kind of split the ownership of the LLC that way. So it's, again, probably very different. But yeah, we just wanted to make sure that we were taking the right steps. We've never opened an LLC before for ActionGlow, obviously, before. So we just wanted to make sure that we were connecting with the right people and we were making all the right steps so that we wouldn't get into any legal trouble or anything down the road. Right. So for us, the LLC was the first step, along with getting some sort of protection behind our idea before we went out and tested the market, like you said, Brian, and made sure that it was something worth digging into a little deeper, making sure that the interest was there.
Yep.
That makes sense. And Judy, what about you? Look, when we come up with an idea, when I first started, I was opening up corporations for every one of my ideas. And I realized that that's when you start paying taxes, whether you have the idea commercialized or not. So I think there's a different point now where you should file for a corporation or an LLC, and you want to get some legal tax help for that. So Judy, what did you do?
So because of my legal background, I know how to form a corporation. And so I decided to form an LLC, and I formed the LLC after a year. Then I decided this is going to be an invention, but I never thought about forming the company. But the training that I have as a child selling, I thought, I have the background, so I'm just going to make it a formal business. So that's when I filed for the LLC here in Arizona. And it's the same LLC that I have since 2013. It's been now, it's going to come out to 11 years with the same LLC. And I'm so proud of that. I'm so happy.
Wow. You know what? It's sometimes, look, Judy, for you should be so proud. You came up with this idea, you made it out of cardboard, then you wrote your own patent, and now you're forming your own LLC. I'm just saying, like, it takes time to figure things out. You can do it yourself. You want to make sure that you're making the right decisions. You're getting good guidance. And look, here you are today with a finished product. So amazing. Let's talk about the next steps now. Here you are. You both are patent pending. You have corporations. And we talked a little bit about your prototypes. But why don't we talk about converting from your prototype into your finished product? Because now it's like, okay, the cardboard looks nice, and I made 7-8 iterations of my super potty trainer. And you probably went through many iterations of the lights and the boxes and making sure that it was the correct illumination and on and off and all that. And look, even something as simple as my inventions too, you got to go through it and make sure that, look, if you're going to commercialize it, you want it to be as best as it can for the consumer. This way they accept it and it's not going to get returned, and they're going to use it for the same reason we all came up with it. So what was your experience like, Garret and Dakota, when you had to take that prototype and find and make that finished product?
Yeah, so like we were mentioning earlier, our experience was a little different because we were always evolving, like the product was always evolving. But once we went from our prototypes, those are basically the units that wouldn't work on the slopes. They wouldn't work once you transfer it to a longboard. And so once we realized, okay, we can't use Velcro, it's not going to be strong enough, we called up 3M, we worked with some 3M reps, and we were able to pick the appropriate product from 3M that would work the best for adhering the battery pack and the lights to a longboard, to a snowboard, to the bikes. And so once we dialed all that in and we had all the components figured out and we had a product that we were really confident with, then it was time for production. And our production was, we would source the lights, we would source the adhesive, we would source the adhesion promoter and the alcohol cleaning wipes. We would source the packaging. So we would source everything and bring it into this exact facility here over 10 years ago. And we learned how to solder. We learned how to basically put everything together, how to print those shipping labels. And so what our process would be is we would go get these power supplies from, it was actually partially purchased overseas and then completely retrofitted at one of their machine shop, like when I was mentioning the back end of this. And so we would get all those components. I would solder it together. Garrett would heat shrink the final connections back, waterproof everything. We'd roll it up, package it, print out a label. But this is before we even knew that bubble mailers existed. And so to even get the thing shipped in the mail, we would wrap it like a present in just like some cardboard paper. So we would fold it like a present, tape it all down, and stick the label on, and then we would bring it to the post office or FedEx or wherever we were shipping from. So it was
That's amazing.
Process, that was how it all started right there.
Unbelievable. Just to reflect back on where it all started from, and that was only a few years back, right?
Yeah.
And Judy, what about you? So you showed us several iterations, and you're showing us the finished product. So what was that experience like for you to turn it from a prototype into a finished product?
So thank you for the question. So it took me about 4 years from the cardboard to this one. So this is 1, this is 2, all the iterations. This is 4, this is 5. So the challenge for me is that I tend to try to have things that have to be perfect, and that's a mistake from my part. I really recognize that. So I thought it has to be perfect, it has to fit and whatever. And then when you find a challenge, you say, you know what, stop wasting time. Stop wasting time, just focus on one thing and just do it. Because I wanted to do it, so many units, so many tries. So finally, when we decide, let's go into production, I reach out to the number 1 manufacturer on my list, and we manufactured the first 2,000 units. So the challenge was that each of the units just pop out of the mold like this, right? Just like this. But each unit needs this. It's a silicone
rubber
pad.
stopper.
The rubber stopper, yes. So the manufacturer, this is the challenge. The manufacturer said, I can make your mold, which they are amazing. I can pop 2,000 units, but we don't have the ability to put the silicone pads. So we ended up assembling 2,000 units. Myself, the father of my kids, my daughter, for whom I actually invented the super pie trainer. She was about 6, and that kid assembled, like, I would say 500 to 600 units, putting silicone pads. I was just abusing my kids. I've been working child labor, actually. So it was a whole assembled line, and I did that. So I sold it like that, and I went from there. I mean, once you see your first unit, you say, oh, wow, I did this.
It's
and so
amazing.
I went from there. Yeah.
What an amazing experience.
Sorry, I'd like to kind of just throw something out there as well. It's something Dakota and I have learned too. The old saying kind of goes like, if you're not slightly embarrassed of your first product, you've launched too late, And so for us, we weren't super proud of this at the time, but it gave us that time on the market to listen to our customers and be like, okay, we can fix this, change this, update this. And then eventually you get to the finished product that we're extremely proud of today. But it's good to kind of get something out there, test the market, listen to your customers, take the feedback, and you can continue to update and evolve your product as time goes on.
That's great advice. And you know what? Look, we've seen your products, and you saw my paper towel topper. We manufacture these, but sometimes people are coming up with ideas, and they may not necessarily have the money or they might not have the time, or they're not sure about getting into the industry that they invented something in. So sometimes people consider licensing. And licensing means that you're renting the rights. This is how it is most of the time. You're renting the rights to your intellectual property for a manufacturer with distribution to make it and sell it for you and under their product line, and you would earn a royalty from it. So one of my inventions, I came up with a snack container. I came up with a scooper, and I thought it would look cool to really have a face on it. So what I did was I licensed my product, and this was called the Snackosphere. And you put your, let's say you have cookies in, right, for Cookie Monster, and then you close it, and then you can take it around with you. So what I did was I came up with this idea, I patented it, and I found a manufacturer with distribution, a licensee. We're the licensors of our intellectual property. And every time one of them sold, I earned royalties from them. Okay. And Elmo, Cookie Monster, all the Ninja Turtles, like it was really a fun ride with these, and just something simple, you know, just to close it up. But that's what I'm saying. So if some people are out there listening or watching, and you may be limited on funds, you may want to consider licensing as an option to earn royalties. And you were all on Shark Tank, so there was potential of possibly a royalty deal that was pending from no other than Mr. Wonderful. But look, you all decided to go on your journeys of commercializing your inventions, turning it into a business, and then all of a sudden came Shark Tank. So tell us what your idea was, or what your thoughts were to get onto Shark Tank. What was your goal? I know Garret and Dakota, I watched videos of you when you were, I don't know, 10 years old, making Shark Tank videos. So why don't you start off by telling us about that experience?
Yeah, well, we applied very young, because anytime we talk about ActionGlow to somebody, they'd be like, oh, this is a Shark Tank product. And this was over 10 years ago now. You know, you have to go on Shark Tank with this. So at 13 and 16, we put our dad's oversized sweaters on and stood in front of like a blank wall talking about ActionGlow as our submission video to Shark Tank. And to make the story short, we didn't make the cut that year, and we didn't make the cut 3 other times after that. And then it was in season 14, right when they were casting, I kind of looked at Dakota and said, do you want to try this one more time? And Dakota said, I don't know, Garret, you know, it takes up a lot of time. It's a long application process, and that's time that we could be focusing on growing the company. And so I went behind his back and I submitted our season 14 application to Shark Tank. And he knew nothing about it until we got a call saying they'd like to learn more. And we were kind of being thrown into the casting process. So then I had to break the news to Dakota at that point and say, hey, look, I did something, and we're getting pretty far in there where I think you need to know about this now. And so, yeah, season 14, almost 10 years later, we made it to Shark Tank. And looking back, we're so thankful that we weren't ready back, you know, when we were 13 and 16. The producers saw it. We didn't. We were super bummed at the time. But looking back now,
I think we would have made the best.
Yeah, we would have made the best of it. But, you know, we're very fortunate that we were able to grow personally, grow our company into something we're super proud of. And all of the stars kind of aligned, and the timing was just right. What do you want to add, Dakota?
Awesome. To touch on that a little bit, it was really interesting to see the different submission videos that we had over the years, and see kind of how Garret and I have evolved as business owners and individuals throughout that time. And like Garret said, most of our videos, we were dressed up in a suit or our dad's big oversized sweaters. And we were trying to act as professional as possible. We were trying to act like someone that we weren't, you know? And that is where I think we lost that authenticity. And it wasn't until season 14 we said, you know what? We're going to show who we really are. In our submission video, I'm pretty sure we had backwards hats. You know, we were dressing the brand. We were being ourselves and just kind of expressing who we really are. And that let the passion of our company and our dream and our idea really shine. And that's what I think one of the biggest catalysts was for us making it to the show or making it through the casting process, is finally just realizing we don't have to be professional. We don't have to try to be someone we're not. We were young. We were trying to figure it all out. But as we got older, we said, let's just be ourselves.
And it worked. Amazing. And you made a deal with Robert Herjavec.
Yep.
Yes, we did.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Not only did we get through, but we made a deal. So yeah, we're super excited.
Amazing. Congratulations. What a great story.
That's
Judy,
cool.
what about you? What was your kind of reason for going and thinking about being on Shark Tank? Because so far you've told us that you want to do everything yourself, but
Yeah.
you went on Shark Tank. So tell us about that experience.
So I have always watched Shark Tank. I've always been an admirer of Damon John, Lori, and always been so afraid of Mr. Wonderful. I thought he was so mean. And then I had videos of myself. I had my kids video filming me, like, pitching to the sharks on Shark Tank on the TV. So I have that. And then I think something came out, really the light was when I went to a trade show in 2015, and I saw all the people coming to the little booth that I had. And I said, wow, this is bigger than I thought. I need to go to Shark Tank. But I did not, I felt like I was not ready. I really, really, really felt like it was not the right time. Even though I had the mold, 2,000 units, got a lot of attention, got a lot of, at some point prior to Shark Tank, I had 4 offers of reading documents with licensing, but I was so afraid of, oh my God, people are going to take my product. So I was afraid of that. But then the time came right. Unfortunately, I got divorced in 2018. And as part of the divorce decree was like, you take the house. I want my business back. I want my invention back. I never regret that decision. So I walked out of the home and I rented an apartment. And as part of the agreement is, okay, you are going to be with the kids tonight. And that night was the first night that I was not with my kids for the first time. And I was just crying. Then I went to the gym at a little complex apartment. I turned on that TV. This is 4.5 years after I said, I'm not ready to go to Shark Tank. The time is going to come. So when I turned that TV, I was the only person in that little gym. The first show is Shark Tank. The first person that appeared, Mr. Wonderful. The person that I thought he was so mean. I get goosebumps every time because I went to Shark Tank because he goes, you need to come to Shark Tank. It was so crazy. So I said, this is the moment. I need to go to Shark Tank. At that time, I had a business partner. I texted my business partner and I said, we're going to Shark Tank. We need to go to Shark Tank. So my business partner said, no, we're not ready. We don't have the right sales number. I said, if you don't go, I'm inviting you. I'm going to go to Shark Tank. I just felt it. So we applied. We had, some sales. We applied, we practiced a lot of things. And then we received that email that you're in. We would like to learn more. And then the videos and stuff. And it was an amazing ride with Shark Tank, and it really changed my life. So I'm really grateful for that.
And
yes.
You made a deal with Lori and Damon.
On the show with Damon and Lori, after the show, things changed a little bit. So Damon.
Got it.
Damon is
okay.
solid.
Well,
love Damon.
It's really, I have a chance as the inventor coach to see a lot of products and kind of guide people through. And many people are really encouraged by having an opportunity to go on Shark Tank. It's not easy, right? You both said 14 pages of applications and going through, and that whole experience, and emotional going through all of it. But look, there's many opportunities. It's not the only one, but there is something that does make it really exciting, and a lot of people watch it. So look, people do it for actually bringing their products to the next level in their companies, and some people do it just to get on the show. But you all had a mission to find the right partners and to really build your businesses. So congratulations to all of you. It's amazing to hear what you've all accomplished. So look, it all sounds great. It sounds like you've kind of told us everything that was working very well, and it just seems like, hey, this is what it took and this is what it is. But I'm sure that there were some challenges along the way. Yes. So real quick, what do you think was the biggest challenge that you've had that you've overcome? Judy, why don't you start?
Well, the biggest challenge of Shark Tank or the whole journey as an
Your whole
inventor
journey.
was.
Let's just go back to where you were to where you are today. What do you think one of the biggest ones were?
So the biggest one I would say was, it was a challenge, but it was a blessing at the same time. I received many no's throughout my almost 12 years with a super bike trainer. And I knocked on so many doors, so many people told me no. But I really believe in what I have. I really believe, you know what? These people are confused. I'm not, because I knew it was going to work out. The biggest challenge in all this was pitching actually to Shark Tank. I don't know why, because when you're pitching, and they tell you no, the first Shark come out. My first thought is, my kids are gonna watch this. Their mother is being rejected, and I had this internal like panic. Like I went up and down 10,000 times inside. Like, of course you cannot see it. And I said, my kids are gonna watch this. And then during my pitch, Damon was about to go out, Lori, and I said they cannot go out because Mark Cuban went out. And the biggest challenge was when they told me no. Mr. Wonderful say no, Robert said no, Mark say no. So when I had Lori was almost going out, and I said, "Look, I have this patent. I think that was the biggest sell of my life." I said, "Look, it's patented." And so that was a big challenge to try to recover them back. In it, I accomplished that, and I'm so happy about that.
That's
all
awesome.
the challenges. That was the first one, the rejection. Yes.
That's awesome. Thank you, Judy. Yeah. What about you, Garret and Dakota? Real quick, what do you think the biggest hurdle was that you overcame to this point?
Yeah, well, Judy was spot on as far as like so many ups and downs when you're in the tank and getting your first no, and you kind of like your soul kind of like leaves your body. But for us, it would be just not getting taken seriously when we first came up with the idea. We were super young, but it was frustrating because nobody thought that we would take this as far as we have, and over 10 years later, here we are, and we still haven't reached the full potential of ActionGlow. It feels like we're just getting started. Right. But just so many people would turn us down because of our ages, and that was just being a young entrepreneur, right? Nobody thinks you're going to stick with it. Nobody thinks you're going to take it seriously or take it anywhere. And that strung out to be our biggest challenge for sure, was getting people to believe in us. And some did, and that was the score. They were just great supporters, great mentors. And they were just there to help us, and that's not the case with everybody. So
that's the way to do it. And you know what? Go ahead, Dakota.
I was just gonna say, and to touch on that a little bit, us being young and naive, starting the company at such a young age, there were a handful of people as well who saw the potential in the idea and basically tried to use us to make $1 million. They found what they thought was their golden ticket to get rich through us, and so we have had to turn down. And luckily, we had our mentors from SCORE and other mentors that have been always by our side since we've started the company, that kind of looked at these deals from manufacturers, or looked at these deals from other, wannabe investors coming in, or whoever it may be, and said, this is absolutely not good for you guys. You're not going to sign it. So like Garret said, having those people in our corner helped us out tremendously, because there was still a lot of people that also wanted to take advantage of us.
Look, really, when you're coming up with an idea, it's what do you do next? And you kind of navigate through, and you can make a lot of wrong turns and lessons learned for sure, like you all. I mean, it seemed like a lot of them were kind of at that point of just figuring out what to do next. And that's the thing, is once you go through it the first time, it becomes a lot easier. You're all working on different versions of building your brand and your products. And Judy, you're already on your 6th or 7th invention that you're working on. So it gets easier. It's just along the way, having the right support and resources and information is really important to get to where you are. And like you mentioned, SCORE and resources, good information that's out there, U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, SCORE mentors are there to help and support. So that's awesome. Here we are. There are business people watching, whether they're starting a service business or they have a product idea, and they're at all different stages. Some of them might not even have an idea yet, and they want to hear our stories today. So real quick, let's just kind of close this out before we have Q&A. Hopefully we still have time for Q&A with Cody. But what are some words of wisdom that you can share with the people watching and listening today to keep them moving forward with their journeys or their future ideas? Judy, why don't you start?
Thank you. That's a great question. And to all of you guys that are listening or watching this, I encourage you to, if you have an idea, don't let go of your idea. There is a reason why life, universe, God, name it, whatever you want to name it, higher spirit, whatever. Don't let go of that idea. Don't waste time. Learn how to do research. When I invented this, there was not many platforms that exist right now. So I used what I had. Right now you have AI, you have so many new platforms, social media, other search engines. Learn how to do a search on your idea, on your product. Don't waste time. Don't get discouraged by people telling you no. No one is going to know better than yourself the idea that you have. That's why it's your idea. So don't, if I have a book to count how many ideas, how many times people have told me no, or even call me names in all these 12 years, I will not be here. But I didn't give up. I was really consistent with my research. I don't care how many times you told me no, I'm just gonna go for it. So I went for it. I was just like that. So I encourage you to do the same. Be brave. Keep going. You will receive many no's. Keep going. That's it.
Thank you, Judy.
Just don't give up on your idea. Yes.
Amazing. What a great story, great accomplishment, and we can't wait to see what your next inventions are that you can't tell us, but we're gonna keep an eye on you. Yeah. Garret and Dakota, some final words of wisdom to the audience that are watching and listening today.
Yeah, like Judy said, you have to stay determined. I mean, it took Garret and I, it took us a decade really to start having people take us seriously. And we just never gave up. But adding on to that as well, I would say our biggest take home from this entire entrepreneurial journey is it's really who you know. And it's all about networking and getting the right people behind you or in your corner. And like Garret said, the first thing we did is we got SCORE mentors. We got mentors from other business incubators in Michigan. We were pitching at every single business pitch competition. We were pitching to colleges and elementary schools. We were getting our idea out there, and we were talking to as many people as we can. And I can't even count the amount of times these people we've met or these connections and the people that have been in our corner have came back around full circle to help us in one way or another.
That's amazing.
Network. The biggest thing that we can say is network, get your idea out there, and adding to what Judy said as well, just don't take no for an answer. Because you're going to have a whole book of no's. It's always going to happen. So keep pushing.
That's great. And Cody, we can share how we can keep in touch with each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you, Brian. That was actually the first question that I had pulled up was, hey, what advice do you have for new people? So you actually went right into the Q&A. That's perfect. And yeah, absolutely. And we can get into that in the last few minutes if you all want to drop some information on how people can get in contact with you if they have any questions about this webinar. But I think we can knock out just a few more questions. And we got about 5 more minutes. And the first one that I have here is, how can you protect your idea while looking for investors? The majority, I think, of these questions are about patent and when do you start that process? But overall, just how do you protect your idea when you're looking for investors so they don't steal your idea?
Right. Well, I can talk from an inventor perspective to kind of figure out what the possibilities are to commercialize your invention. So when you start off, you probably want to do some research. I think we're off.
Oh, no, we're still on.
Good, oh, we're still on. Okay. Well, look, you want to do your due diligence. You want to make sure that you're doing at least a patent search with a patentability opinion. And before you even do that with a professional patent attorney or agent, you should go online and put in descriptive words, see what's out there already. If it's too similar, then move on to your next idea because you might be working on somebody else's invention. And then you want to go for potential investors. Well, they're going to want something that's proprietary that you can, and they can call their own. They can have some kind of competitive advantage in the market. So if you're working on somebody else's, it may be challenging. So doing your due diligence in the beginning and then going through and filing a provisional patent application, like I mentioned earlier, can give you the right for 1 year to say that you're patent pending before you go into the non-provisional or utility patent. You can also get a design patent. And then you have some intellectual property. You have some assets to be able to present to an investor, to a potential licensee. So definitely do your research to start with.
Let me just throw something on top of that, Brian, as well. We also had to start talking about our idea before our patent was issued, or before we even had a provisional patent. We just put a good non-disclosure agreement in place as well.
Yes.
Because something you have to share with people, manufacturers, to even get rolling. So work with an attorney, get a good non-disclosure agreement in place, and you can have whoever you need to disclose information to sign that prior to opening up too many details.
Great.
Exactly. I would say that do not show your idea, do not talk about your product or whatever without having a non-disclosure agreement signed. That is major to avoid being copied.
Awesome, awesome. And so a lot of other questions that we have here are asking about, putting together a pitch. So do you have any advice on pitching your product to possible investors?
Yeah, so I would say put together the little background of your product, what your product is. Don't waste too much time about who you are, where you're coming from. Just, this is my product and this is the problem that I'm solving, or you can solve the problem with this product that I have in your non-disclosure agreement. And just be relaxed when you pitch your idea, and just go, the materials, I use this and I use that, just very simple. And why you're looking for and why you need the money for.
And passionate too. No one's going to believe you if you don't believe yourself.
Exactly.
So you kind of want the passion to exude from you as you're pitching to a potential investor or to whoever you want to take you seriously.
I think it's really important to have a prototype, at least be able to get to a point where you could see it for yourself, see how it works, feels like, as close as possible, to be able to show it and get it to the next levels. But it's really about, when you're pitching, you want to have something to pitch. And then it's, what was the problem? What's the solution? How can it benefit whoever it is that you're pitching, right? And maybe show some other types of things that are out there and why yours is better and going to give whoever it is that you're pitching that competitive advantage. So that's really important, I think. A lot of people want to get into, I spent X amount on this and I'm this and I'm that. At the end of the day, the investors want to know really what their return is going to be, right? So you want to keep it real for them and keep it simple and see really how's it going to make them money and how's it going to make you money.
Exactly. I agree with that.
Yeah. And as we close out here today, I think that's all the time we have for questions. We would love to get some more information on, if anybody has any questions about the webinar here today, how can they get in contact with you? So we'll start with Brian and then we'll just go from there.
Thank you, Cody. And thank you, SCORE Mentors, for making this happen. I've been on a few times and this is an amazing platform and experience, and great people that are watching with potential out there of commercializing their inventions and turning their business ideas into real functioning businesses. So congrats to SCORE Mentors. You can keep in touch with me. My personal website is brianfried.com, BrianFried.com, and Inventor Smart Community app are the best ways to reach me. So thank you, everyone. I appreciate being here today.
Yeah, thank you, Cody. I'm really grateful for and very humble too, for this invitation. It's my first time in SCORE, and it's not going to be the last one not as a guest, but I'm going to be following you guys along. You can find me on LinkedIn. I appear on LinkedIn under both of my names, Judy Blair, Judy Abrahams. So thank you so much. And, if you have questions, LinkedIn.
Yeah. And then for us, our website's actionglow.com. There's a form you can fill out right there. We also have our info@ActionGlow email. That would be the easiest way to get in touch with us. We also have social media. So our Instagram is @ActionGlow, and our Facebook is ActionGlow. So really just ActionGlow anywhere, and we'd be
you can find us. So you can find us.
I think I just connected up. I connected up with you guys on LinkedIn also, Judy and Garrett and Dakota.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm also on LinkedIn. That's a great platform for businesses and everybody who are watching and listening. It's definitely great because our connections all of a sudden turn into your connections. So definitely hook let's all get hooked up together on LinkedIn for sure. That's great.
And I think I speak for all of us, for anyone listening. If you have any questions on anything or you want more information, you can reach out to any of us here through any of those platforms, and we'd be more than happy to help you in any capacity that we can.
Correct.
Perfect.
Yes.
And I'd also like to mention, feel free to reach out to a SCORE mentor. If you're not working with a SCORE mentor, you can find them at score.org, either by their zip code or by their expertise. They're free. We give free business advice along with free mentoring services from thousands of mentors from across the country. I know Dakota and Garrett have worked with SCORE mentors in the past, and you can find them by using the link in the slide. So that's also a great option. And so with that, I'd like to give a thanks to Brian for facilitating this webinar. Thank you so much. And I'd also like to thank everybody else here today, Judy, Garrett, and Dakota, for being here today. Thank you so much for your time and for sharing this valuable information with the SCORE audience today.
Thanks
Our
so much.
pleasure.
Thank you, Cody. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Good job, Brian.
And so with
Great
that,
job, Brian.
yeah.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, great job.
Yeah,
Thank you. You both too.
awesome.
And Cody.
Yeah, perfect.
Both of you.
Yeah.
And Judy, good job.
Thank
And
you all
Judy.
for being there. Yeah, a pat on the back for everybody. All right. Yeah. And so with that, we'll go ahead and close out today's webinar. Take good care, and we look forward to seeing everybody next time.